I thought I'd do a video on how to use a DA sander. Now I have three DA sanders. One of them is this type, and this is a palm sander. It's more of a finishing sander, not very aggressive. Now the old school National Detroit DA sander is my choice for taking out this really rough. These are grinder marks from doing some filler work here. So for the really rough stuff, I like to use this National Detroit. Now, later on, as I got a little bit faster, I said, hey, I'll just use this hog and start it off with that. So I really like to use the hog first on these grinder marks. These are 36 grit scratches, and then you can put 80 on this and wipe them out pretty fast, or I even sometimes use 40 grit on the hog, wipe those out real quick, then come back at it with 80, then 120, and further out you can use 220 or a scuff pad. So 80 grit to finish your body work, 80 grit or 36 or 40 grit to get these heavy duty scratches out. Then I go 80, 120, 220, and then maybe a scuff pad, 3M Scotch-Brite pad or something like that. But you don't want to put primer over unsanded paint. So with that being said, we're just going to use this guy. This is a National Detroit, just regular old DA. I have 80 grit on a 5-inch pad. So what you want to do, the best way to do this is to put one hand on this, and I'm right-handed, so I use my right hand for the trigger. But I'm always working away from the bodywork. Working away from the bodywork. I don't want to start into the bodywork and try to feather edge this paint from this side, from up here. I want to start here and pull away from the bodywork, or go this way, parallel to these scratches. So this way or pulling away. Now the speed is probably about like that, and so we're just going to keep it flat, and we're only going to use, for this style DA, we're only going to use about that much from here to here of that sandpaper. The middle will hardly ever get used. So here we go. Now, this is called feather edging. So you want to have it so that you got metal, and then I see some primer here, and maybe, I don't know what this is, maybe white paint, and then the red paint, and you want to have a smooth transition. So you can see if this was a big dent, you'd be like frustrated. So that's why I start out with a very sharp new piece of paper, and you can see that I'm only using the outer 1 inch of that disc. So let's go ahead and finish this up. And that's it. Now it would have went a lot faster if I would have quick hit it with this hog and then came back with this DA. Now, I'm only going to hit this down here, this edge a little bit, and then I'm finished. Let me back it up so you can see the rest of the dent. So in review, this body filler has been final sanded down with 80 grit on a block, so this filler is all down to 80 grit. So we can prime over that 80 grit. This was initially sanded or with feather edged with 80 grit, and then I hit it with 120. As I move out, I could hit it with 220 and then a scuff pad. But the point is, you don't want to put primer over shiny paint. So 80 grit is fine, and I'm even comfortable putting primer over 80 grit feather edging. But for those that aren't, you can hit that 80 grit again with 120 and then prime. So you can prime over 80 grit, 120, and then on the outer edges 220. So I hope you enjoyed this video on how to use a DA sander. And if you did, and you would like to see my other videos, please consider subscribing to the channel.